Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Cold and snowy today. It's not as cold as it has been though. I think we're above zero. We had a rough one though for a few days. 35 below here at the house and had some readings 42 below north of us here. So all you Canadian viewers, you didn't keep the gate shut up there. Hey, today I'm going to get back on the TS400 crankshaft build. I thought we might have had a breakthrough on a bearing, but it didn't pan out. So we're forced to go back with the used bearing. We've got the new pin, a set of new thrust washers, and a perfectly good rod. A couple things we need to take note of as we're starting this build, and I'm going to get you overhead and I'm going to talk about those a little bit, but hopefully we can get this thing put together and everything is the run out and everything is good on it. Usually these things aren't too bad. It's been a while since I've done one this big, but usually it's not that hard to get them lined up. So let me get you overhead and let's go through this a little bit. Okay, I've got everything kind of laid out here and somewhat organized. The one thing we need to take a peek at before we pop this pin out, and I've already done it, but you know, you can see here that it's recessed a little bit. Now you don't have to do all this stuff, but you know, you want to get it as close to as it was. And at this point, I don't even know if this pin is the same length as the new one, but we're gonna find out. And with this recess, I'm just gonna go in here with a micrometer and check that, and we're at just right at 26 thousandths. So what I've done, you know, the first thing we're going to do is press the new pin back in here, and we want it to be about the same. And what I've done is I went through some shim stock I've got, and I found some, what do we got here, 15 thousandths I think. This is measuring, it's kind of curled on the end where I cut it. It's supposed to be 15 thousandths shim stock. Oh no, it isn't either. It's supposed to be 12 thousandths. And what I'm going to do, when I go back in, I'm going to lay these in that hole before I start pushing the pin in, and that'll keep it from going any further. So I've got about 24 thousandths. Like I say, it's rolled a little bit, and that will, when we press the pin in, it'll take care of those rolls, I'll guarantee you. So we'll be approximately the 24 thousandths. So that gets us pretty close. That's all we need to be. So the other thing we need to look at here is the location of the hole for your lubrication. So you're going to want to make sure this pin goes back in with the open end right here. It's going to the mag side. So that's where your oil is going to enter. You've got the slinger and all that stuff that goes against right here. So the thing to look for is to try to get your hole approximately in line with the top here. They just did okay, that's close. So that's we're going to try to be a little better than that's okay and close, and we're going to get that that hole somewhat close to the top, and this hole will go towards the mag side just like it is on this one. So first thing we're going to do, go over to the lathe, and we're going to push this pin out, and then we'll come back and we'll measure the new one and the old one and see where we're at. So let's get over there and do that. Okay guys, make sure when you push this out that you push it this way. You don't want to push all this back through the hole over here, especially if it's this one probably wouldn't do anything, but if it's got any corrosion or rust on it, you don't want to subject your hole to that abrasive effect. I've got a couple things here that I'm going to use to push. I got a Ford 9-inch differential pin here. I think that's what I'm going to use. That'll get me keep me up above this. I also have a 24 millimeter pin that would fit real good, but it's a little short, I think. So I'll just use this. It's a hardened pin. Shouldn't give me any difficulty. As long as I can hold on to it. Okay. Let me get the air turned on. Alright, let's see if we can get this pushed out of there now. I'm going to reach down here and grab the pin. Now wait a minute, this thing is kind of moved on me a little bit here. That's more like it. Okay, that came out of there pretty hard. It even knocked my light out. Okay, we're real close on this. I'm getting about 68, 38 there. That's the used one, or the used one. And 68. 68.41 on that one. So I think we're in good shape. I'm just going to go back with the way we are, and I'll be putting the shims. I'll just stick those right in here as I put this down on the bench, and then we'll press the new one in right on top of them until they stop. So let me get over there. I'll get this cleaned up a little bit, and then cleaned up, oiled with a light oil to help facilitate the pin going in, and then we'll get started on it. Okay, I've got the crankshaft flywheel setting here, and I've got it straddling my plates, and I'm trying to keep it from touching. I don't want it to touch either plate. And then of course we've got the hole over here under this plate. So that's where I'm going to put my shims. Make sure that they sit down there like they're supposed to. And I've already oiled the inside of that. So I'll go ahead and clean and oil the pin, and then we'll see if it'll shove in there. Okay, again we want to try to get the hole pretty close to the top, so that's going to go like that, and we want this hole towards the magneto side. This is a very light oil. You know, it's a tight fit. It's you know, oil's not going to do you a whole lot of good, but it's going to be better than not having it. Let's see here. I'm going to go with my aluminum pin or aluminum pad here. I don't know, I may run out of, we'll see. maybe I can get it started. Just want to check my orientation here again. Looks pretty close, and that pin's heading the right way. We want it kind of as straight as we can get it to start with. Okay, again, I'm checking my down here to make sure I'm not touching, and I've got the pin towards it, or the hole towards the top. And I've got my hole. I just want to double check. All right, see what we got. There it is, that's home. Looks like we've got our recess about like we ought to have, thanks to our shims. Our holes facing up and towards the mag side. Okay guys, just to let you know, I shot some shop air up through the hole here, and it does come out here, so it's a good thing to check that. Make sure you're not putting something new together that's not going to work. Next thing, since this thing's it's going to go together pretty hard, and you know, with some of the smaller ones, if you've got if you know how they start popping when you start putting them together, that is uncontrolled, so you can overshoot this real easy, and you can mess up your bearing, or you can just get it too tight. And with a smaller one, you can wedge them back apart a little bit pretty easily, but this one's not going to be that easy to do. So what I've done here is I've cut a shim. Our big end clearance is supposed to be 6 to 20 thousandths, and I've cut a shim here that I'm going to put in, and that is going to go, you know, between actually it'll go between here. It doesn't matter where it goes as long as you've got that clearance. And this way, if it gets a little tight, I can wedge it a little bit and still be able to pull this out. But if you go together too far, you can cause some damage to the bearing, and that's, you know, that's something I don't want to do, because we don't have one. So all this is going to go like this. We're going to lube them up real good and get our rod in there, of course. But this is just a little thing that a lot of times what I do is I just stick a feeler gauge in there. But this one here will keep me on both sides. Actually 3 sides, it'll keep me at 10 thousandths. So that should help protect me a little bit. So let me get this thing ready. We're going to use some assembly lube on it and get it prepped, and then we'll go over there and see if we can press it on. Okay. And get everything lubed up good here. You notice on this crankshaft, the thrust washers are not like the run-of-the-mill crankshaft is. So these are actually a little smaller than the bearing, and it allows the rod to slide over the thrust washers. So you're actually thrusting on the crankshaft, not on the thrust washers. All these are doing is maintaining a gap, and we want enough gap so that the bearing rotates. It's not pressed firmly onto it. So that's what we're doing. And I'm going to go ahead and take this thicker oil off and put my lightweight oil on. And we'll put that in the crankshaft. With a little bit of assembly lube here on the thrusting area. Okay, that's about all the prep we can do. Somehow or another we got to keep it straight and not overdo it. Okay, I'm trying to get it squared up now, and I've got just a very little amount of pressure on it, and I'm just tapping the top wheel or top crankshaft with a brass hammer, and I'm trying to get the two halves in alignment. It went a little too far. So let me work on this. Okay, I think I'm in pretty good shape here, and I'm probably gonna be tapping this down a little bit as I go, just to try to keep it up with it. I need to look down here and make sure I'm good. I need to correct that just a little. Okay, I'm having a little trouble keeping it centered here. Okay. Now I'm trying to keep the two halves in kind of some relationship to one another, and looks like it's pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and push it a little bit, and I think I'll be tapping here just a little to keep everything square until the pin gets in for far enough. Well, looks like it's doing okay. Okay, I'm real close. My shim's still loose, the crankshaft's still loose. I'm going to pull it out and actually check the dimension. Everything went okay. I thought I was going to have to tap this a little bit, but it looked like it went okay. So let me do some measuring. We'll be right back. Just giving it a little tap here. just to close that gap a little bit. Okay, that's good and tight. When you get down close, to eliminate all that popping and the peril that you have to deal with, it's best to take your brass hammer and a wooden bench and just strike it right here, whatever it takes. Start off kind of easy and then get into it a little more. So that's good and tight coming out of there. That's my 10. So I've got my 10 here. Remember, you got to get that washer pushed aside. Okay. So let me find a little smaller one here. 11, 9. Okay, looks like a 9. So 6 to 9 thousandths, or I mean 6 to 20 thousandths is what you want. And we're picking up a 9. You notice too that I had protection on here so that you don't damage anything in case you're off a little bit when you strike it. But that's where this is the other side. This is just about flush now, and this side, when I was pressing that one in, I kept my shims in right there. So this is feeling real good. We don't know yet how the run out's going to be, but you know, it is what it is, and you have to correct it. But I felt pretty good about getting it lined up. So let me get the lathe set up, and we'll get it over there and see where it is. All right, guys, got it over here in the lathe, and right now I've got 8 thousandths on the clutch side and 7 thousandths on the mag side over here. So all in all, not too bad. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I just kind of like starting with, you always start with one. You don't even do the other one until you've got the other one close. It's just, you'll just drive yourself crazy. Okay, I'm going to start on the mag side here. As you can see right now, we're 0 on the clutch side and 7 on the mag side. So that means this part right here is too high. So I'm going to whack it right there and try to drive this down, and then we'll put it back in here. Yeah, I guess I need to move that back a little. Okay, I gave it a couple whacks right there, and as you can see, we're at about 2.5 over here, and we're looking like about 8 over here. Oh no, I got to zero this one out. Okay, so it brought it in line good. Okay, we're at 4 over here and about 2.5 there. So I just kind of make a note of that. Got 4 on the clutch, so we took half of that out, and we're at 2.5. So we took a little over half of it out on the other side. So that's pretty good. Okay, the one thing that I'm noticing here now, I've got to get this kind of right there. Okay. Okay, so I'm 4 on the clutch. I thought things were, they were moving at the same time, but they're not. Okay, and 2.5 on the bag side. So it's in the same spot. You probably can't see it, but there's my mark right there. So I'm going to whack it in the same place. So I'll pull it out and we'll do it again. Okay, we're a lot closer now. I'm seeing 1 on the mag side and 3 on the clutch side. And the thing, hell no, it's not. Let's see, there's our indicator on that side. I was thinking these are happening at the same time, but they're not. They are a little. At this point, I've got 1 here and 1 there. So we may have a little pinch that we need to deal with. But as of right now, I'm going to work on the other side a little bit. I've got the 3 right here. So we'll take it out and whack it right there. Okay, I just want to show what I'm doing here. I'm going to whack this side just a little bit. And it's really good to be over a bench, but you really need to have it in your hand because these things need to be able to move. If you're on a bench and you hit it here, it's just driving it into the bench. So it's got to be able to move. So we'll whack it right there. And a brass hammer now. Okay, back over here at the lathe, and I'm showing 2 over here and about half on this side. So let's see where they these are both showing up. Yeah, maybe they're not. This one over here, I think is almost 0. Yeah, it is. This side's at 0. And we've got 1.5 on this side. I don't know whether to do any more with that or not. 1.5. That's better than it was when it came in here. I'm going to move this out just a little bit. As you know, on this side, we've got this keyway. So I'm as close to the outside as I can get right now. If I go out here, I'm going to have an interrupted. So I'm curious as to what it looks like a little farther out. I just don't want it to fall into there. Okay, there's 0. And I'll skip over the keyway. That's the same. 1.5. Yeah, I think we're going to leave it right there. Okay, now we need to check the shake, and it cannot exceed 0.118 inches. Okay, I've got it pulled this to this side. So we got about 32 thousandths. Good. 0.118 would be 1 revolution plus 18 thousandths. So we're good on there. We had 0 on the mag side, 2 on the clutch side, and we're at 32 for the shake and 9 for the big end bearing clearance. Okay guys, I think we're done. It's better than it was when it went back, or when it came apart. We've repaired the sealing surface, and originally when we took it apart, it had 3.5 thousandths run out between your halves, and now we have 2 thousandths, so it's just it's a little bit better than it was. The clearance for the bearing and the shim, the big bearing down here, is supposed to be between 6 and 20 thousandths, and we have 9. And then our small end shake supposed to be no more than 0.118 inches, and we're at 0.32 or 0.032. So all of our tolerances are in check, and better than they were when it came in here. Plus the sealing surface is better. It's when you've got good centers in your crankshaft, it makes all the difference in the world as far as trying to get them lined up. This, I kind of evolve every time I do one of these. This time, I've just gotten to the point where I try to make a shim so that I get it close, but I can't get it too far. And what I end up doing is I try to still have this where I can remove it. And then I come in and just whack it with the brass hammer right here until I can get the dimension that they're telling me to get here. And this has been working real good for me. I haven't had to spread one in a long time. It's just counterproductive to push them too far. When they start popping, you have no control over that. So, you know, you get so much static pressure built up in your press that it's all in the metal, so it just springs on you. So that's why I do what I do, and that way I don't have to go back in and wedge it apart, because it goes against the grain to do that, but sometimes you have to. But this has been working good for me, so I'm going to continue that. Now, the other thing that I always check, and now I'm going back to millimeters here. When we tore this apart at the pin, it was 69.98 millimeters. And I'm at 69.61. So we're good. This will fit in there. And then I go 180, and I was at 70.09. And here we're at 69.71. So we're closer on everything, and we know that this will fit back in the cases, because that's why you always want to measure before you take it apart. You know, you can probably get by at one point, but I always do at the pin and at the 180 from the pin. And as you see, we got it a little bit closer, and we know that it's going to fit in there. No doubt about it, because our measurements are just a little bit less in both places. He still shouldn't have, it's not enough to have to change shims or anything like that. So should be able to use the same shim and the stock slinger, all that stuff. So this is ready to go. I'll be packing it back up and getting it back to the owner. Okay guys, there you have it. We had a lot of work to this crankshaft, and you know, it seems kind of the going fashion, so to speak, is more and more of these require more and more work to make them serviceable again. I just hate that we couldn't find a new bearing for that lower end, but there was absolutely no wear in the rod. And you know, usually if you get a lot of wear in your bearings, some of the rollers start falling out and whatnot, and there's none of that going on. And we've got absolutely no movement up and down. The side-to-side big end clearance is better than it was at 9 thousandths, and the run out is better than it was at 2 thousandths, and the little end shake was better than it was at 32 thousandths. Those are all the new measurements. So I'm real happy with this. I'm sure he's going to be glad to get it back. I've had it a couple months. It just, you know, I get on a tangent going on some of my other stuff, and I just, you know, when I do work for people, I just put it out there that if you're in a hurry, I'm probably not your guy. You know, but I will get it done, and I'll get it done to the best of my ability. So this one's heading back. Thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.